This is Michaela McLean, and you're listening to Beauty by Design. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for being here. It's time to talk about our next gate 4. And before we get into it, I just take a minute. What's going on? The new yoga nidras, all for the various human design, aura, and authority type. So there's 13 in all. You just need one for your particular type and authority to basically get your science supported beauty sleep. Incredible things that Yoga Nidra itself helps you do. Episode 188, if you want to hear all about it. And then this one implants additional human design info. Super simple. You don't need to understand human design at the mental level. Just let it sink into your cells like good skincare, right? So get your beauty sleep while you're at it. So just I have to say, a little ingenious way of utilizing all of this together and then healing frequencies in the background. And if you're a provider, I suggest the bundle because then you can play it in your treatment room. You have one for everyone that would walk through your door. And I had somebody the other day, they put on their stories, they're taking my course. They were like, hey, if you're my client, would you please send me your chart if you're comfortable? And I was like, this is genius because then you don't have to worry about running it. People can do it at home on their own time because a lot of people don't even know their time of birth and you want that exact. And then they can just send you their chart and then you have it, save it, in their files or whatever. And then when they're there, you can play that and customize their experience to them. I was like, that's so incredible. So love that. And I think it's laying this base layer of everything that's going to come next from me, which is including trainings on energy work. So this is all really important. Like each piece is like it's another brick in this wall, that I'm building this thing. So trainings, at Aesthetic Next 5.0, of course, I will be lecturing in the esthetician track about energetic aesthetics, all of the stuff that is coming from me. So, kind of like if you're into this, get ready. Cool stuff is heading your way. But I will be doing an in-person hands-on training there as well, a workshop about bringing it all into your clinical setting. And I'm so excited about that, kind of taking and making it again clinically palatable for even medical practices. So that's going to be so cool. So getting really excited. I've been like on a bit of a shopping spree. I'm lately just kind of getting the wardrobe ready. Of course, gonna all kinds of cool things that happen there. If you're on the fence about coming, definitely come. You can use my last name, McLean, MACLEAN 50 to get a discount off your ticket. Come to the workshop. Would love to see you and work with you, certify you in my modality in level 1. And yeah, so I was like, I got a dress for the nexties. Again, just so honored to be up there nominated alongside of like friends and other colleagues and people that I know, other injectors and not other, like I am one, but injectors and different people that I really respect as far as like that are educators and trainers. Like that has always been my thing. And so, yeah, that's just anyway, like such a cool honor. I'm a little bit freaked out though. There's a party where it's like about wearing neon and it's very futuristic. I'm like, girl, my whole closet is all black. I'm like, we're in trouble. If you send help, if you know a good place to get, I think neon accessories for me. I'm like, maybe that's the route that I will go. I don't know. Anyway, if you have thoughts, send them my way. But yeah, there we are. So that's kind of the big thing for right now. Some Little Fox releases that are coming very soon. I'm also getting very excited about. So my goodness, I don't know. Again, there's always so much coming down the pipeline to get excited about, but I'll just share as it comes. Anyway, let's just move on. Let's move on to the actual episode. I already made my little disclaimer, but of course, don't try to understand this at the mental level. This is super relevant to this episode. Just let it sink into your cells. We're Bob Rossing it over here. Okay, so of course, we are still in Leo season, Human Design Gate 4. This is located in the Ajna, part of the collective logic or understanding circuitry. So, of course, this is the more yang, cool headed, planning, future focus side of the chart. It likes repeatable patterns you can experiment with to prove over time. It's the logical left side of the brain about refinement and alignment on this side of things versus, of course, the opposite of the collective, the abstract that's all creative, experiential flow, in it for the experience. That is not this side. This is definitely the cold hard facts, ma'am. So, starting with the center itself, the ajna is our mental awareness center. It interprets information, inspiration, then forms it into thoughts and opinions. All the awareness centers in human design, so the ajna being one of them, the spleen, the solar plexus, they all carry fears and anxieties. And of course, this being the mind, it's about mental anxiety. So, in the case of gate four, this is left brain business, of course, recognizing patterns, formulas, labeling everything, using comparison and contrast. It is trying to organize and file information away. And the keynote, of course, with this is sharing, right? This is where like math and science comes from. So gate four is known as youthful folly. It is the gate of formalization. And the keynote with this is formulating a logical answer, mental anxiety that you will never find order in your life and you will always be in chaos, the need to find and give answers. So again, at its core, four is really about that compare and contrast of patterns, systems. Human design is a system, for example. And so I find it interesting because there's somebody I'm going to talk about at the end who loves this, who's a gate four person. And I'm like, I curious. I'm going to have to ask them. I don't want to spoil who it is yet, but I'm like, is for being somebody who has such like a logical piece, like their son is in four. It's like wow, but you're cool with this. Is it because you're really open to seeing all sides of things? Sorry, I'm spoiling stuff here. Let me get back to business. The low expression, intolerant, overly intellectual, like that cold, sterile, just hardcore logic, super in the head, over analyzing. It's like a dog with a bone needing their questions answered. High anxiety when they can't wrap their mind around something, making something or taking something, and then like logically using, sort of your mind to explain why you're taking this personal, and jumping to conclusions, black and white thinking. So, according to human design, none of us are meant to make decisions from our minds. Instead, the mind functions as an outer authority to be used to help other people. It's collecting and formulating answers for others. So that is part of the high expression of it, right? Gate four is always looking for the answers, is always trying to make sense of things. And there is a pressure there to find answers. Um, Constantly seeking to mentally organize messiness and loose ends. And it's a person that always has an answer for everything or is always searching to find one. They want a resolution, but it's really just the beginning of a process. When you think about this whole pattern repetition thing, that you're like, oh, I need to see more data to kind of prove it over time. Yeah, you would approve the repeatable patterns over time that got you there. And so you got to think about this. It's like if you have this, chances are you're probably good at like math and science, because it follows that typical logical thought process. So think of this as like this is definitely somebody you want on your team who can bring order and organization to the chaos. This is not something that I have. It's not my talent. Uh, this is an important thing, an important thing to remember if you have gate four is like, again, it's about answering other people's inquiries. It's not there to answer the questions about yourself. Your job is always, no matter what your design is, to trust your strategy and authority. Hi, plug for the yoga nidras. That helps you with that. Um, but it's like basically have fun thinking on behalf of those around you, but not doing the thinking like you're going to figure out your own problems for yourself. And like I said, this is called youthful folly. And I always think about this as like, oh, I need an answer, but we don't always get one. Sometimes there just are no answers. Or the folly is in thinking that you have the answer. right? Not being open to the fact that there could be like many ways of looking at this thing. And of course, in human design, we're always, the reminder is like, don't overvalue the mind and the process of the mind. And four on its own can always be, essentially searching for the next question to answer or be super anxious that everything will always be chaotic. So in the gene keys, the shadow of this one is intolerance, the gift is understanding, and the city is forgiveness. In the gene keys, Richard Rudd says the fourth shadow is essentially a misuse of one of the greatest gifts of the human mind, logic. The power of this fourth gene key is the power to read and solve logical patterns. And as we shall see in the case of the fourth gift, this ability leads you to a universal understanding of the rhythmic patterns and tendencies of all life. However, at a low frequency based on emotional reaction or overreaction, the shadow uses the power of distorted logic to support it and uphold its volatile nature. In other words, if the fourth shadow has had a bad day and decides it doesn't like someone, it will find a whole list of logical reasons to support its dislike. This is what intolerance really is, a slanted perspective of logic. At the shadow frequency, the mind is actually given the authority to make important life decisions, and this is often disastrous because its true role is not to decide anything. Its true role is to understand and communicate. Only true understanding can bring peace along with it because true understanding lies outside the domain of the mind. Understanding is of the whole being, and it does not and cannot require agreement from the cognitive capacities within your brain. The gift of understanding is the only answer that will satisfy a person's dissatisfaction, and it must come about through the exhaustion of your mind rather than any other way. When you look logically at all angles of any concept, you begin to realize that nothing can ultimately be proved through logic because logic can always be used to prove the opposite. When you finally see this, your whole being lightens because you realize once and for all that the mind is of no use for resolving anything of real importance. This in turn releases the mind to do what it loves best: research and communicate and play. When the fourth gift is freed from having to solve your existence, it finally comes into its real genius to play with the patterns of existence and arrange them in new and original ways. When you have the feeling of visceral understanding deep in your belly, your mind is no longer hampered by the need to defend your own viewpoint. In fact, you realize that all logical formula can be manipulated to prove or disprove anything. The higher frequency of such understanding also brings with it the urge to be of service in the world. And he goes on to say this newfound genius at seeing the underlying patterns of life also affords you direct access into another aspect of this fourth gift, the ability to understand people. Through seeing all sides of any mental construct, the gift of understanding sweeps aside the possibility of intolerance and uses its gifts to create new roles or systems to bring positive change into the world. So my notes here, this is part of a projected channel. Of course, projector rules apply, seen, recognized, and invited, to share these answers that you have. Other people, again, this is using your mind to help other people solve their problems. And here we go into our programming partner. So of course, if the sun is in Leo, gate 4, the earth is automatically opposite in Aquarius, gate 49. And gate 49 is known as revolution, the gate of principles. It's the gate of rejection. And this is the one that has high standards and values, boundaries, all caps. And its biggest concern is making sure that the tribe's needs are met, especially when it comes to food, but other things that are like basic necessities. And it is ready to go to war if those basics are denied. Of course, the low expression of 49 is quick to reject people who are not in total alignment with their principles and their ideals and their thoughts and their opinions. And also it can be one that carries a fear. This is again high solar plexus, so also fear and anxiety. It can be afraid of being rejected by the tribe as well. This is definitely a gatekeeper energy in its low expression, like who's in, who's out, who's in the tribe, who's in the group, and who's not. And like I said, shutting people out, pretty pretty dramatically. And it definitely has this expectation of being obeyed, like what that energy says kind of like goes. But the high expression for this one shows up as somebody who's willing to fight for their group, who cares about the big picture and everyone involved. It pushes forward with strong principles and, wants to improve the conditions for everyone. I always laugh. This one's nickname is the gate of no, or the divorce gate, because it is not going to let you walk over them and do not do them wrong. They will drop you like a hot potato and, never look back. So definitely those boundaries people. And then the gate that completes the channel is Pisces, gate 63, forming the channel of doubt. And 63 is, of course, the gate of doubt. It's logical pressure to make sense of the pattern through doubt, looking for the logic or a new pattern. And this one is always questioning things, looking for a logical answer. It is not an energy that's simply going to take things at face value. So, super skeptical vibes, looking for proof. Of course, this like all collective can be tried to turn inward and used on the self versus using it to again help other people. So we're looking at that self-doubt, mental anxiety, or being suspicious and questioning of like other people if they're not getting like a clear and sensible answer to their questions. Um, of course, this is coming from that more like cold and perfectionist side of the chart. But the high expression here is, of course, to uncover the truth. It's healthy skepticism, not believing something until it's sufficiently comprehended. Again, this whole channel is all about pattern recognition, and formulas and formulating educated answers. And again, ideally, this is being used for the better of everyone involved, and moving everyone forward, collectively. So 63, that Pisces gate 63 up in the head or the crown center comes down and connects to gate 4, our Leo side of things in the ajna or the mind or the third eye. And it turns inspiration and questions into fully formed ideas. And then it's like, hey, let's experiment with this idea to prove it or disprove it. That's the whole point. Um, so the question, it's like basically 63 is the question and 4 is the answer. It's like, all right. And then we experiment, prove it, show your work, just like in math. It's like, I don't want to just see the answer. I want to see like how you got there. And can we do this? If 2 plus 2 equals 4, but also 3 plus 1 equals, 4, and 0 plus 4 equals 4, like we're looking at formulas here and how we got there. So when the two come together to form the channel of logic, it's about having a logical and doubtful mind and using it to be of service to others. Wait, and the invitations will come for your brand of clarity and logical answers. Astrologically, this channel would be a Leo Pisces quincunx aspect. So again, logical Leo partnered up with doubtful Pisces. This one always just makes me laugh. So if you have that full channel, like my mental projector nephew, you've got a mind that questions everything and is driven to get the answer to it all. Like that is very mental computer stuff going on up there. This gate is in the third quarter of the wheel. It's duality, purpose fulfilled through bonding. So it really is about, sharing answers with everyone. And my little esthetician connection that I was alluding to before is that this is the evidence-based esthetician, not bringing on lines or devices until they've been properly vetted, not being sold on BS, but wanting to see the hard science. So they're the people who, they're just, like they're serious. They're serious about this. Like, don't give me the fluff. And so it's funny. My friend Marie Rose Pink of Marie Skincare. She is a Leo Sun in gate 4. And then Rianne, the master esthetician, she has gate 63. So I laugh. The two of them together make that channel of doubt. And they're definitely both people who are like, yeah, don't give me the fluff, give me the science. But Maria, like I said, that she's into like human design and stuff too, which I think is so cool. It's like kind of being open to seeing all possibilities. So yeah. Anyway, of course, that's it for now. Do you have this gate up in the ajna and the mind? 4, it's going to be over on the right hand side. So if it's black, red, or red and black, you have it. But if it's white, you don't. Let me know. I would love to hear your experience with this. And I'll be back soon with more. Of course, if the episode was of value to you, I would love it if you leave it a 5-star rating and review. to help more people discover this information. And if you want to learn more human design, start with my free guide. We'll have another class, yoga nidras, all that good stuff, my golden experience guide course, membership with solo esthetician love, and trainings and things coming in the very near future. So until next time, have a beautiful day.